Greetings, it's Enchantress Shane, and I today am speaking about advice. And what do we do when somebody is an over advice giver and it's like uncomfortable, or they don't even realize what they're doing, or worse yet, they're shooting on you? So the women's circles that I run and the covens that I host, especially the Enchanted Burlesque Coven, one of our biggest agreements is we don't give unsolicited advice. What does this even mean? And are you guilty of it? So, first of all, the biggest alarm is should. When somebody tells you should, it's like, wee, wee, sound the alarms. Somebody has given you a flat out judgment. And basically, built within the word should is, you're wrong, you could have done this right, you're kind of stupid. It's like the worst backhanded offering ever. And it's a word that I would like to remove from the English language because it just is filled with so much like disagreement and judgment. And the truth is, nobody can give you the best advice unless they know you really well, you're paying them to give you advice, or you know how to clear and have neutrality when receiving advice from somebody. So, for instance, somebody calls you and they say, "What should I do about my boyfriend?" or "What should I do about my boss?" You are not in their relationship. You don't know what the work situation is really like. So any advice that you would give is coming from your own projections. And it might be some kind of, my playful bindies. It might be some kind of what you really need for yourself, because you can only give advice based on your experiences and your lifetime. And so the best thing you could do is listen or ask questions so that other person can come to their own conclusion and get their own advice. Now, I did not grow up this way. I grew up shitting on everybody and everybody's shitting on me. And it always felt bad, but I didn't know why. And so here we are today, really concentrating on how women speak to each other, so that we don't get defensive and we don't build up a case and then get away from what we're actually looking for insight on. So in a women's circle, the biggest thing is a woman, or in life, a woman sharing something that might be being shared for the first time is enough. And if you think what you have could be giving really good advice and you think you could really help this person, it is so crucial and critical to check in with them and to ask, can I give you some advice on this? Are you open to receive feedback? Now, the other side, please do not be afraid to say, no, I'm not ready for feedback, or no, I actually don't want advice, I just want to share. I am obsessed with this kind of communication because there are so many nuggets that need to be healed, but that get piled up with other shit because people don't know how to communicate without shooting on each other, without projecting. And then all sorts of feelings get hurt that are not shared. And then there's like a divide. Relationships are broken up because of miscommunication. Business deals are lost because of miscommunication. Feelings are hurt because of miscommunication. And we, in the coven and in life, are learning to be more transparent with our language so that we don't have to feel stupid or feel out of integrity or feel like a bad friend. So another example would be if you are invited to a birthday party and you kind of know you won't be able to make it because you're going to be tired. But something tells you, like, it's not fair to be tired if somebody wants you to come to their birthday party. So you say yes, and then you clearly know you're not going to go. And then it comes closer and closer to the time, and you start to feel like, oh, I didn't I didn't tell them, I didn't call them. So you do two things. You either go and you're exhausted and drained, so you overeat, or you talk gossip, or you just end up drinking too much, or you just have a bad time and then you're mad at yourself for going. Or you don't call, you don't go, and you don't really speak to this friend, and then there's like this bad feeling around that friendship. All of those choices suck. So something you can really do is very transparent and saying, I know I have a long day that day. I love you so much and I really want to come to your party. It's going to have to be a last minute call for me. Therefore, you're leaving yourself space. Maybe you'll go, but if you can't go, this person isn't expecting you. And there's so many million different kinds of communications that I can speak about. So I'm going to give you a couple more. And the main thing I want you to know is this way of communicating, by not giving advice, by not sharing your insights, by not overdoing the giving, is loving. You can have compassion. You can have empathy, but you don't need to give this person anything. You're listening and I wasn't sure I was recording just now. And you're holding space. So holding space is like this term that gets thrown around a lot. And I want to be really clear about what it means. To me, the easiest way of explaining holding space is like listening. Just listening. If you have a friend that's always with a victim story, like, oh, blah, blah, blah happened to me. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Life is hard. This is the way it's supposed to be. That's really difficult. It's really hard to not want to give them advice. And the truth is, you listening to them might be helpful, but if you keep hearing the same victim again and again and again, maybe this person doesn't need your time and space because they're not appreciating how you're holding space for them. They're just taking advantage of it. Again, it's unconscious. It's not like they're doing it to you because it might trigger your victim. And so I remind you to be really careful with yourself that when you're hanging around somebody who is stuck in victim mode a lot, you might decide when to spend time with them, when not to spend time with them, because you love them so much. When you give positive reinforcement to someone who's always in victim mode, they stay in victim mode. You can pray for them, you can send them light, and sometimes they don't give themselves credit when something good is happening, and they make it like it's bad anyway. You can love this person by giving them compliments. So not like, oh, you should do this, you should do this, you should talk about it in a great way. Give them compliments. So when someone is sharing, when someone is giving you something that you know you could give advice on, and you don't, and you compliment them, wow, thank you so much for sharing that with me. That's it, you're done. You can still have empathy, you still have compassion for them, but you're not going to fix them. And if you give them some advice and they do it, they're not going to take it in as much as they could if they figured it out on their own. So that's why you love them so much. You want them to figure it out on their own. Now, as a coach and a guide, people pay me to give insight. I still don't give advice. I do share stories of my own life, which could be inspiring, but I also hold space. And if you know anything about human design, which you know I'm obsessed with, I was put on this earth to listen. I have listening lounges. So a lot of times when people are talking their story or sharing, and I'm listening, because of who I am, and they're paying me, they want it to be valuable, and it is more valuable because I'm a neutral party. I really don't have, I care, but I don't have any emotional attachment to their life, except that I really want them to do well. Like, I'm not choosing between someone and their boss. And as powerful women, it's important for us to draw the boundaries and say, actually, I don't really feel comfortable hearing this story. So if somebody comes to you about some relationship discrepancy they're having with someone you know, or two women friends and one woman friend is coming to you to tell you the story and to hear advice or to just have you listen, it's okay for you to say, actually, because I know you both, it's really uncomfortable for me to hear this, so I'm sorry, I'm not the one to talk to. Now, I've come so far, so for me it sounds really easy to just say it. Yeah, tell them, draw boundaries. You can do it too. And if this is something you want to work on, let me know. I really love these examples. So if you come over to the Awkward Enchanted Coven, which is the free Facebook group, you can write your situation. And I too will tell you if it's two people I know, no thank you. Or if you can give the story without objectification on one part or the other, just a neutral story, you can ask for insight in the group. I will answer, as many of your sisters will answer. Or you can just share the story and say, I'm just sharing the story. I appreciate nobody giving me advice. I need to be seen. Sometimes being validated as a woman in the situation or in the story is enough. And typing it is enough. And the proper response is, I love you, I'm thinking of you, sending you love, thank you for sharing. There's no like, you should do this. How about try this? Because unless you ask. But if somebody clearly writes, I'm not looking for advice, I just want to share, then I appreciate them for that. If someone's looking for advice, they will ask, hopefully. Now, usually when someone is in victim mode or telling a story as a victim, like, oh, things are happening to me, and I've gotten caught in this too, our natural human qualities want to be like, let me get on the phone with you. Let me help you. That is not helpful. Unless it's not helpful to give advice to someone who's in a victim mode, because it's like, there's a hierarchy of how we feel inside of us. And also Maslow's hierarchy of archetypal needs. I don't remember the title of it. But when someone's in victim mode and they're going down, spiraling down, you jumping into the rescue is treating them like the victim. But if you compliment them and invite them to rise up, they might get mad at you. They might get resistant. They might be like, you don't understand my story. And that's when you surrender and you're like, you know what? Maybe you're right. But I'm not going to be shit on again with your victim story. So holding space is the way to go. Thanking the person is the way to go. And it's slippery. It's tricky. This is no way an absolute. Like, when this happens, do this. When that happens, do this. No way. This is a very feminine way of communicating, which is messy and a little bit chaotic, but it's the reason we have containers. It's the reason we have agreements, so that it doesn't get too painful. Or if it does get painful, there's a way to come back to it and not be damaged forever and not be re-traumatized. All right, so I know this is a touchy subject, and I'm really happy to be speaking on this as much as you desire. So in the comments below, write your story, write your situation. I'll see if I can shed some light on it, or just thank you for sharing. And if you're not already in the Awkward Enchanted Coven, come on over. You can go to Facebook and type in Awkward Enchanted Coven. We are a smallish group, growing all the time, and it's all about women supporting women in our feminine bodies. But not just that, in our creative bodies, in our masculine energy, and how to have harmony, and how to have accountability, and how to create a sisterhood so everybody who takes part feels seen, heard, and the ability to grow bigger and have more success than you can ever imagine. So this is Shane signing off to all my future women of the coven who want to walk onto the stage of life with the confidence of a showgirl. I welcome you. I'm excited to have you, and I will speak with you soon. Bye.